Hello, I am the front man. Happy Halloween. Hopefully you can hear me. Yes, it looks like you can hear me. And happy Halloween from the front man. This is my Halloween costume. I've never done a live stream in costume before. I don't know. I saw Squid Games, obviously, and having some fun with the mask. And I figured I might as well be the front man. And maybe what I'll do at some point in the future is get the other masks as well. Hope you're having a great one. I am actually not the front man. I am actually Frank Lavinia. And whew, that hoodie messes up your hair. I don't know how they can be on a computer all day like they are on the show with those masks on. You haven't seen Squid Game. Uh, it's funny. This is true. This is a true story. I didn't really think one way or the other about Squid Game, but I just saw all these memes come by, and I'm like, all right, I finally got to check this out. I got to see what the memes are about. So the Squid Game is the first Squid Game is the first TV show that I saw because I wanted to understand the memes, which I think if that's not a turning point kind of in in the world, I don't know what is. Yeah, so Squid Game's really good. If you can get through the first episode, the first half of the first episode is like they're trying to, I think, emphasize kind of the backstory of one of the characters, and kind of like, okay, what's your back, what's your story, like what's the deal, and it's worth it because I almost turned it off after I'm just so sick of hearing this guy complain about his life. Then I'm glad I stuck it through. Happy Halloween to you, Mr. Nuaz. Hopefully I pronounced that right. I hope you're having a great day. I hope things are going well. And yes, this weekend is Halloween. Sort of almost kind of normal here where I live in Maryland. We the mask mandate, I think, inside is now optional. Like they've lifted the mandate because we hit a certain threshold of new infections, which is great. It's just a sign that the world's coming back a little bit closer to normal, um, like it was in the before time. And to that end, I actually attended two in-person conferences this month. Can you believe it? In person. I was in an elevator with a mask on, of course. Not this mask. Not this mask. I would imagine. I would imagine it would be very creepy. um, to see somebody in that mask. In an elevator. I would definitely not get on that elevator. But the the two conferences one was in DC, one was in Baltimore, so I didn't have to travel. But I was actually in an elevator with like six people, which I think is the most number of people I've been on an elevator since all of this began. And it's nice to see kind of just little bits of things, little things that you miss. Hopefully things will continue to improve. I certainly hope that, and that the supply chain drama is not going to impact Christmas too much. I hope so, in the holidays, because it'd be a shame. Because now that the virus is kind of abating, having a new crisis would be awful. But yeah, so as I said on our previous live stream, it was in Baltimore. It was a great show. Had a good time interacting with customers and kind of getting understanding of what they're looking for. And I was there. I was working the Coverse booth. In case you haven't been following, I joined Coverse a couple months ago, and basically, what Coverse provides a data lake implementation for highly sensitive environments. That's kind of the thing. Perhaps I'll talk more about Coverse at a future live stream, although maybe not one titled Happy Halloween, because that'd be a little weird. But I had a great time at the conference. Got to meet some fellow folks from our parent company, SAIC. Got to kind of interact with them. Got to meet with customers. Got to schedule a lot of meetings with customers coming up in the future. So it was a really good time. It was nice. The conference was very well done. I get the impression smaller than it used to be, but just the fact you can actually go to a convention center, meet people, and shake people's hands. Yes, shake people's hands. Although there was hand sanitizer abound. So It's definitely, I think the world is going to be a little different, the conference world, but it was nice to just kind of have a little bit of that come back. I had to work the booth the whole time, so I didn't attend any sessions, although here there were some really awesome sessions. And with that, interesting things have happened this week, right? Facebook has announced that they're changing their name to Meta, which is probably not a coincidence that their metaverse VR product is probably their next star product. And it's fascinating to watch a company like Facebook that really rose to prominence with one product and now they're branching out. Reminds me a lot like Microsoft. Microsoft obviously wasn't their first, Windows wasn't their first product, but it certainly was the product that brought them to prominence. And then rather than stay stagnant in just that one place, they expanded, they grew out. I think that's very interesting. If you look at a company like Netscape, Netscape didn't do that. Granted, maybe they didn't have the time to do that, but it was interesting how they kind of rose to prominence with that one product that they're giving away mostly for free anyway. It's little wonder that Netscape kind of came and went, for lack of a better term. So I think that's interesting that they're I think they're betting the farm on this metaverse thing. And obviously, full disclosure, I have one of these, a Facebook Oculus Rift 2. I've seen it. I played around with it. Since this is such a special group, folks who tune into my live stream, I am working on a podcast about virtual reality and augmented reality and another blog site, basically using Dingo, which is a content creation tool, to start a third blog. So speaking of which, I think Frank's World is 144 blog posts for the month, and just tracking just a little bit under 5 ppd posts per day. If anyone's interested in kind of seeing what my workflow looks like, drop a comment in wherever you're watching this, on Twitch, YouTube, LinkedIn, etc. Let me know if you're interested in kind of taking a peek behind the curtain, pondering what we're going to do with Dingo kind of in the future. I might port it to Python. I don't know. I have a YouTube tool that mostly using a library that I've been using to extract kind of content. Which reminds me, I have a lot of things to catch up on. That's the great thing about conferences. You get to meet all these people, but then especially if it's local, you're not traveling. It throws your day off. To get to Baltimore in time for me to be at the convention center and get everything set up, I leave my house at 6:30. And in order to look presentable with a suit and all, as you saw in my previous live stream, had to get up extra early, and then you get home kind of late. So if you're wondering where this week's episode of Data Driven is, that's what happened. I'll launch it on Monday. We had a great conversation with an excellent author, and we're gonna get that out probably this weekend. Probably launch it on November 1st. November 1st being kind of a special day. The podcast is in the mail. I love it. That's my brother from another mother. I saw you sent me a message, but I haven't looked at it yet because I'm doing the live stream. In fact, I actually have a meeting at noon. So, Andy, you and I will sync up later today. And that's a good segue. Thank you. I'm glad that's all good. That's a good segue because maybe I'll explain this on a more lengthy live stream. I consider November 1st kind of New Year's Day for me. And I've done that now for the last 4 or 5 years. And basically it was the year I had was just so awful. I found out my job was moving. I found out all these horrible things were going. Even the cat died. I had a concussion. It was just crazy. And I just said to myself, I just need to let this year end. And my first thought was, well, why not? And historically, All Saints Day is November 1st. And that traces its heritage back to a previous Celtic holiday, which is kind of like Celtic New Year, called Samhain or Samhain. Not sure how to pronounce it. So I was like, you know what? let's end the year early because it was just such a bad year for me personally and professionally. And even my mom got sick. I mean, it was just raining poop all around. And but the following year was a great year for me, and the following years have been better. So if you're in a tough spot and you're not having a good time, I'm not. That sounds weird. You can tell I haven't had my coffee. I'm going to end the stream in a few minutes because I really need to load up on some caffeine before um, for my work meeting. But I just wanted to check in. I wanted to show off my Squid Game mask. And I have to say, I'm very impressed with kind of how, in the midst of a supply chain crisis, a show that's only came out in mid-September, um, I was able to go online to Amazon and get a mask. They have the circle, the triangle, and the square ones as well. I didn't see any of the host or the other things. And if you've not watched Squid Game, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. But there's basically a hierarchy. I'm not going to give away any. I don't think I'm going to give away any spoilers for the show. But there's a hierarchy based on the mask, because the whole thing is that the people who work the event, they can't see each other's faces and stuff like that, and there's a whole reason for it. But if you have not seen Squid Game, I highly recommend it. It's definitely not for the kids. My kids was whistling like the theme song because he heard it. There's apparently a number of games on Roblox that are themed after that. It's called Fish Game. There's Octopus Game, which they basically replicate kind of the contents and the games in the show, but they do it inside of Roblox. So I think it's interesting. Kids already know what this is, even though it's definitely not. I would say the best way to describe Squid Game is what would it look like if Quentin Tarantino directed The Hunger Games? I think that's a pretty good description of Squid Games, but it's really well done. I liked it. Again, if you watch the first 30 minutes and you're like, Frank recommended the show, what is he thinking? But now stick with it. It's totally 110% worth it. And with that, I'm going to sign off. I hope you have a great weekend. I'll try to stream this weekend. I don't know. Drop me a note in the comments if you have any questions about what the new podcast is going to be about, how it's going to do. Hey, Dr. Gatam, how's it going? We got to reschedule you to appear on the Impact Quantum podcast. Reach out through email or DM, and we'll get that sorted out pretty quickly. Sound good? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a great evening. You missed the whole Squid Game intro. I have a frontman mask. I'm going to a Halloween thing tomorrow, and even the adults have to wear a costume. And I was like, well, I got a hoodie. And last year I had the Guy Fawkes mask with the hoodie. I was like, I'm gonna try to be more trendy with the kids. Hope you have a great evening or morning or afternoon, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the spinning planet of ours. And with that, I'm going to end the stream. Feel free to ping me on IM or DM. And speaking of spinning globes,